One of my favorite functions to teach in Excel is the PMT function. This one has the most real-world application because hopefully at some point everyone already has or will be in the market to buy a car or a house. To explain how this function works, this is an actual worksheet that I use in my face-to-face classes and that I have set up on my home computer and on my flash drive. And I do go in here and I use this from time to time when I'm looking at cars or when I get a hankering to buy a new house. I also have fun with it. I have at the bottom I have an if function. Can I afford it? And so I'll go in and put what my budget would be or what I could afford, and usually it tells me no. This is one I use for face to face. As you can see, you need to know three things for your PMT function to work. You need to know your present value. This is also called the principal. It could be referred to as the amount to borrow, the loan amount, and there are several other terms that can go along with this. You also need to know the current interest rate. You needed to know it as the interest rate per period. That is dividing your annual interest rate that you will find or someone will give you when you call a bank and ask what the current interest rate is. They'll give it to you as an annual interest rate, and you need to divide that by 12 because there are 12 payments per year. And then the third thing you need to know is your total number of payments. This is referred to in your function as the NPER for number of periods. So you can put this in your worksheet as how many years you want to pay on the loan, and then you'll need to multiply that number by how many payments you'll make in 1 year. So I have the spreadsheet set up. Notice that I'm looking at a $14,000 car, 4.25% for 5 years, and it gives us a monthly payment of $259.41. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete from here down. I'm going to delete my PMT function, and I'm going to walk through this formula with you. To compute your annual interest rate, to break it down into how many payments per year, you'll create a formula. This is a basic math formula. It's not a big function. All formulas begin with equals, and you'll take your annual interest rate and you will divide by, and if you have this number typed in your spreadsheet as a given, you can use the cell reference. If not, you can simply type in the number 12 right here in this formula. I have it in my worksheet, so I'm going to enter the cell reference, and that gives us 0.35%. And then let's say we want to pay on this car for 4 years, and then we need to find out what our number of payments are. So it's equals the number of years times how many payments per year, and that gives us 48 months. Now to make the PMT function work, I'm going to try to do this 2 different ways for you. I'm going to use it with the dialog boxes so you can work through the function in steps. So we're going to go to our insert function, and we're going to type in at the top payment in case you're not sure which function you are to use, and you can hit enter or click go, and it brings up several different types of functions. We're going to find PMT, click OK. The 3 things that you need to know, notice those are bold. 90% of the time, anything that's not bold within these dialog boxes for these functions are optional or a little more advanced to make your function work exactly for you. The first thing we need to know is the rate. You can move this box out of the way and you can use your pointing method. We're going to, in my worksheet, I have green boxes to let you know the 3 pieces of information we need. We're going to find our rate. So I'm going to click in that box. Then I'm going to come click in my NPER. Oh, sorry. I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. Our NPER is the total number of payments, and that's going to be this 48 months. And our PV is going to be our amount to borrow, which is our $14,000. I'm going to click OK. That gives us a payment of $317.68. Then notice this is a negative number. It's because it's a negative cash flow to us. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this formula, and I'm going to enter this in the way that your SAM training and your SAM quiz will want you to work through this, and that's to not use the boxes and to return your monthly payment as a positive number within your worksheet. To do that, we're going to type the formula in. We're going to create our equals. Then, so this returns as a positive number, we're going to enter a negative sign at the beginning of our formula. So we're going to say equals negative PMT for the name of our function. Then we have to create our arguments inside the parentheses. And the first thing is your rate, which is cell B5. Your arguments are separated by commas within your parentheses. The second piece of information you need is your total number of payments. That's that NPER. So that's in cell B7 in my worksheet. Another comma, and I'm going to go jump up and grab that PV, present value, which is the loan amount. That's the end of my function. I'm going to hit enter, and notice I got the same dollar amount, but it's now returned as a positive value. Then just to play, I like to put in this can I afford it, and I'll go in from time to time in class or in my real life when I'm looking for something and determine what my budget might be for monthly payments. And I'll go in here and in my if function, I'll just jump up in here in my formula bar and I'll change if my monthly payment is less than or equal to, and then I'll change the number. So let's say I can only afford $200 a month. I'm going to change that $250 that I had to $200. Notice I have it to tell me yes with a lot of exclamation points, and no with the frowny face if I can't afford it. I'm going to hit enter. I cannot afford it. My payment is less or is more than the $200. So now what if I got a really good job and I can now afford maybe a $400 car payment? I'm going to change that number to 400, and then it tells me yes, I can afford it. For the home scenario, same pieces, 3 pieces of information: your present value, your rate, and your number of payments. The only thing different I have here is bigger numbers. Homes are more expensive than cars. And then I also have a row to include the down payment. Most banks require you to put a 20% down payment, so I also have that information as a given in my worksheet. So I'll kind of select those and put those in another color so you can see those cell references. I have my 20% for my down payment, and then payments per year is 12 for 12 months in a year. So I have, let's say I'm looking at a house for $150,000. You can see here I have a formula to take the $150,000 times my 20%, and that gives me the $30,000 that the bank's going to require me to put as a down payment, which brings my loan amount now to $120,000. Your loan amount for your home and the purchase price of your home should never be the exact same thing, so please keep that in mind. Then I have an annual interest rate of 4.25%. In this formula, I took my 4.25% and divided it by the payments per year. And let's say I want to pay on this home for 30 years. So then I have a formula that takes the 30 years times the payments per year to give me 360 total payments. Then my PMT function, I'll just delete that number and we'll start over from scratch. I'm going to say equals, and I want to return this as a positive number, so I want to enter a negative sign, and I'm going to type PMT for the PMT function. I'm going to start my parenthesis, and I need to know my rate with the comma, my term, comma, and the loan amount. Not the purchase price, but the loan amount. And when I hit enter, I now have a positive number, and now I'm going to put in an if function. Let's see, we'll use the formulas this time. It's a logical, go to if, and we'll say if my monthly payment, which is found in cell B12, is less than or equal to $500, tell me to buy it. And if it is false, tell me to keep dreaming, if I can spell it correctly. Alright, notice it tells me to keep dreaming because this payment on this price of a house with this interest rate is more than my $500 budget. But let's say I go down the street and I find a house that is $125,000. Oops, not $125, $125,000. It puts my payments below $500, and my if scenario is telling me to buy it. Now, what did I just do here? I used a what if analysis with trial and error, just playing with numbers. You can also throw a goal seek into this formula. What if I wanted to see what price of house do I need to find for my payments to be exactly a certain amount? Let's say I want my payments to be, I can afford $550, no more, no more than that, but I want the best house I can get for my money, so I want a house that is a house payment as close to 550 as I can get. I'm going to click in this monthly payment cell, and I'm going to go to data. I'm going to find my forecast group, what if analysis, goal seek. I want to set cell. I want to set my monthly payment to $550 by changing the purchase price. I already have everything set in, my down payment, my loan amount. I have everything else I need. So let's say I want to find a house in a certain price range. I'm going to click OK. There's my $550 there, and notice I can afford a house that they're asking $139,753. So that could be a good negotiating tool also when you're looking for cars or for homes. I hope by kind of reviewing all of these formulas as you're tying up on your Excel unit and getting ready to take your exam, that these scenarios and me working through these functions have helped you. Again, I love the PMT function the most out of all the formulas that I teach, because I do feel this is the most real world.